Hey everyone, we have Daniel here, and Daniel's trying to find a place where the wind's not going to bother the mic. Hopefully, we'll figure that out. But
Yeah,
how's it going, man?
it's going great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks for
Having a
reaching out
great
to
day
me
here.
and getting this interview going.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me just a little bit about your history and typology before we get started?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I actually started like 8 years ago. I was looking into MBTI like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I would take the test and I was curious about it. So I would take it multiple times. Um, I think at first I was getting like INFP and
Oh
stuff
well.
like that. Um, and then it started evolving and I noticed that obviously you don't get the same thing every time. It just depends on a lot of things, the time of the day, how you're feeling, what you're going through, what you're currently exercising more. So then I just started looking into what do you call it, like the functions, because I read that that's how you're supposed to actually find out your type. You're supposed to actually read the functions, and then, like, as you know about it, you can see what you're actually doing and determine it based on that. So Um, that's kind of where I started, and then I got into OP. I guess it was like a year and a half ago. I was watching their YouTube videos, and then I started getting into their class like 6 months ago. So that's about my history.
Mm-hmm. Um, so I'm getting a conflict here. Okay, I'm thinking either I can't get masculine or feminine sensory. On some sides, I'm getting masculine, but I'm leaning more towards feminine for some reason on the sensory. What
I see.
do you have some info on us for that? Did they say something about that?
They did. I mean, I know which one that they said that it is, but I also find it kind of funny because I do have some masculine sensory qualities.
Yeah,
Like I can definitely tell you stuff on a timeline. Um, I
yeah.
do tend to be good with numbers and dates, very good. Um, it got worse over time though, in more recent years. I've been a little worse with it, particularly because I had like this. I don't like calling it a psychotic break because that sounds so bad, but it was kind of like that. Um,
Mhm.
I was smoking weed, and suddenly I started feeling like really lost, I guess. I was just having a thing. And then ever since then, I haven't been feeling like I'm inside my body very much.
Mhm.
And it's really messed up with my memory. So
Huh.
I don't know what that has to do with it, but they typed me with feminine sensory.
Feminine sensory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I was picking up more on the way you were telling the story. But then you seem, I don't know, on a more masculine sensory sort of demeanor, I guess. Not when you're
Hmm.
talking, but yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So feminine sensory does make sense. Okay. And you weren't overly detailed on what was happening. It was clear what happened, but you weren't overly detailed. You didn't go too far into the details either. So
Hmm.
that might also lead to. I was thinking it's either some kind of demon sensory or the feminine sensory, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Hmm.
So do you have something like okay? So is your sensory savior or demon then?
Um, it's actually a savior.
Okay.
It is, but it is true. I do tend to have a harder time giving like sensory clear examples of things.
Right.
I often talk very abstract a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and Dave actually told me that he thinks I have like a cross-wired sensory and intuition, which is basically caused by usually conditions like synesthesia, where your brain is communicating with itself in ways that it's not supposed to. Um, so yeah, it's a little funny.
Huh, that's interesting. How he, I never heard him say anything about that before. Okay. So it's a savior, and then it's, I guess it's your first savior. It's your first function is your sensory.
Hmm.
Yeah, your observer, and
Yep.
then so that would make it SE.
Yep.
Yeah. So feminine SE savior. Oh, cool. So you
Yeah.
want to tell us? That's okay. So you want to tell us a little bit about that? How that is for you?
All right. So let me see how I think about this. It's a funny one to me. I find it a very funny savior. It's like, how is your savior feminine sensory? You know, it's like you don't really feel the solidity of sensory, although sensory is supposed to be the most solid thing. You know, so it's kind of funny to really observe that in myself. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I've always kind of felt like I actually do, like find a comfort in the solidity of sensory. Like a lot of the time when I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed, I just kind of sit and like try to grab something and like try to, I don't know,
Ground yourself.
like yeah, like I literally ground myself by like grabbing a rock, kind of like I don't know. You know, some people use stones and stuff, for like meditation and stuff. So like I'll grab it and like, I'll feel into the vibration in it because I can kind of feel that. I don't know how to explain. It's really hard to explain how I can feel that, but
Demon
like I
masculine
just
intuition. Yeah.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
something like that. And I don't know. Like I feel like I'm finding a coordinate inside of the rock in its energy, and I'm literally like grabbing onto it and like staying in the same place. Like it feels like that. So,
Interesting.
um, other than that though, like aside from the like trying to ground myself and stuff like that, sometimes, like in more recent years, like I will like look at something, like I'll read something, and then as soon as I finish whatever I'm actually reading, because it might be a couple pages, like I'll forget what I started reading at the beginning of it. So that kind of like it makes me have to read things multiple times, um, which is kind
Ah,
of funny. I guess that's why I used to think I was demon consumed, but
right.
it's
Yeah.
probably why. Yeah.
Um, well, the fact that you're reading it multiple times indicates it's more like a savior, like you're responsible to actually get it. A demon consume would just
Right.
maybe keep going and just ignore that the fact that they didn't get it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, do you feel like consume is maybe a burden, like it's hard for you, like it's something that you don't want to do, but you just sort of have to do it, like it's a responsibility?
That's a funny thing. So I don't like reading.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't actually like reading. I like to listen to audios and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like I
consume
often will
sensory
walk.
consume is also consume of reality, like consuming the world around you, like nature, things like this as well. It's not just information. It's well, it's
That
information,
makes
but it's
sense.
not. Yeah, it's not books, and like books are also a little bit more intuitive as well, I guess.
Hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
reality. It's not SE reality.
Oh, I never thought about it that way. Huh. But yeah. So what was I saying? I
Sorry,
was saying. um. Do you remember what I was saying?
you're saying you don't like books, but
Yes. Yes.
especially with the
Yes.
responsibility to consume because you feel like a
Yeah.
burden.
So I don't know. I don't like reading. I don't read very fast. A lot of the time, I think it might that might be part of it. I have to really like go over the words a lot of times. But I think I kind of like pass on a little bit of that responsibility to somebody else to say it to me the right way. I think that I'm kind of like enjoying the fact that like I'm just gonna take it the way that they actually say it on an audio. So a lot of the time I'll go walking and I'll like literally play a video of someone like teaching something, and I'll just listen to it while I'm walking, and I just prefer it that way.
Sounds like you're
So
outsourcing something there. Um, yeah. Sounds like you might be
huh.
outsourcing something there. Like is someone processing it for you, or you want to process it? You just need someone else to
Um,
intonate it, say it in a proper intonation.
you know what it is? I think that it's that I kind of want to listen to the way that I guess I'm listening for their intuition about the words that they're saying. And it might be a little bit
Interesting.
harder for me to pick that up on words by itself without listening to the way they say it. I think that's what it is.
That's cool. So that's leading me to I thought at first maybe you're using FI, but that's leading me to think you're more on the FE side of things.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you're consumed first, I guess. Like you
I
do
am
seem soft
consumed
above
first.
tribe, yeah. Um, and so you're SETI then?
I'm not.
No. So you're ES. Okay.
Yeah,
So tell me about that then. So then what you're outsourcing then is the TE?
I suppose so. It would have
Yeah.
to be. It would have to be.
So tell me a little bit about your FI. Like, are you really sure about your priorities? What are your priorities in life?
All
What's
right.
important to you?
So what's important to me is that we figure out the things that are going to make a difference in the way that we're living our lives, like as a whole. That's really important to me. Like, I feel like we all need to feel responsible for that because if we don't, then who's going to do that? And that starts with making that a priority in yourself. Like, it doesn't matter if somebody else might be better at doing that than you. Like if you have that priority in yourself, you're gonna give your all in making sure that you're gonna start the train yourself. So um, I guess I have very T priorities because both of my parents are like really smart, at least to me.
Hmm.
My mom is like a science teacher, and she always like was trying to like teach me science stuff and all that. And like my dad, I'm pretty sure my dad is an ISTP.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he is. So he's always like kind of like sharing like what he thinks about something, and he's also like instilling values into other people. I think he's masculine FE as well. I
Okay.
think he is. So that combination, it just kind of it really stuck with me. Like they both wanted me to like care about stuff like that. But on top of that, like I always had this sense inside of me that like I want to I want to stick to like it's really hard to explain, but I'm gonna try. So it's like I really want to make sure that I try my best to make a difference. The difference that I can make just based on just based on having that value. It's like I don't know
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. Jeez.
Yeah, making the difference is something that SE, at least saviors, are usually looking at. They're looking to make some kind of impact or some kind of difference.
Hmm.
I have a question here. So, do you have difficulty reading, or do you just not like it,
Um,
or both?
it's a little bit of both. So
Yeah.
it also depends on the day. I don't know why, but sometimes I guess I'm just not in the mood to read. I guess
Yeah.
so. Because I will like there will be something that I need to read, and I just start a couple pages, and then I have like a lot more to do, and I just end up like trying
Mm.
to learn that same material a different way. Like I'll just look up
So, are you
that
double
thing on
feminine then?
YouTube.
You
I
have
am.
double. Yeah. So that's a masculine FI. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. So that definitely affects that.
do you feel like you're really stable in what you believe and what you like and what's important to you? Like that's not really moving too much.
Um, Interestingly, it does change sometimes. Like I guess I kind of have like a couple different sets of like different things that I could try to like fit on like clothes. You know, like I have a couple different ones and I alternate between them throughout the years. Like just trying to grow in that direction and see if, maybe if I wear these clothes, like something is just gonna click for me. It's like I don't know, but
Yeah.
I've kind of I'm in the process of like narrowing down like the one
Right.
like version of me that I feel most like solid about.
Uh-huh.
So it's one of those kind of things.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of demon NI in there too. It's like trying to narrow down. It's thinking maybe if I just change the way I say this one word or this one outfit or something like that, it'll have an effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Um, what about other priorities? Like you said, you have a girlfriend before we started.
Hmm.
Um, how does that fit into your priority structure? Like, what's important to you? What makes you happy? What is happiness something you're looking for? Is it something you're comfortable not being?
Well, I found in more recent years I am okay with not being happy all the time.
Yeah,
Although I do think about, making sure I'm mentally healthy. Like I'm not trying
right.
to like, totally disregard that. But at the same time, it's very important to me that I make sure that I keep pushing like myself out of my comfort zone. Like I keep trying to beat my old high score. Like I keep on like trying to get up and just like make a big difference in
Hmm.
something that matters to me.
Yeah.
So related to relationships though, I did have a hard time with it at first when I was first trying out relationships. I I don't know, like a lot of the time, like because this is hard to explain, but like relationships to me are happiness. Particularly at the start of a relationship, it's like it's not super serious, but at the same time, it is. But I also have other priorities that are maybe more important to me, and it was really hard for me to realize that I actually do care about like keeping my relationship. Like I don't want to abandon it just because anymore. Like I found that it took me a while to come to that conclusion. Maybe that's another demon and I thing, I guess.
Well,
But
yeah. Why were you abandoning them?
because like I would find that I felt as though I was sacrificing my growth, and I felt like I was also like preventing them from growing too.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it was just a matter of valuing the relationship itself more so that I can keep it in my life. And I don't know, maybe I'll feel more motivated to find more solutions to make the relationship work if I value it hard enough.
Mm.
So
What about in terms of a need for freedom, not to be controlled? Do you get that as well? Like,
oh god, I definitely do.
that's a
uh,
yes.
I definitely do. I think my mom is an INTJ. I'm just I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I feel like she's blast first because she's definitely tribe savior, and I'm pretty sure she's an OI savior, and I'm pretty sure that she's a blaster. So she's always telling me, like she's always, always trying to just keep me in the house. Like, and it just like I'm okay with it, I guess, because I'm a double feminine. I'm just trying to like try to do my own thing in secret at least because I just don't want to confront anything. But after a while, it's like I just start hiding from her
Mm,
because I don't want to. I just don't want to hear it anymore. Like this, there's always a thing that I'm doing wrong, or there's always a thing that I need to. Like I don't know. Like I don't feel obsessed with like control, I guess. but then it comes out in dark ways on people that I don't mean to put it on. So I find myself like running away from people that are extra controlling because it brings out the dark controlling in me.
Right.
And so that's definitely a behavior pattern that I've recognized in
Yeah.
myself. So
Do you have an idea of like, can you give us an example maybe of a time where that happened that you feel comfortable giving?
let me see. Mm, hmm. Well, I don't know. This one time, um, I started dating this girl, and I really wanted to just, go to the beach with her and like do something with her. My mom she's so afraid of like adding in extra chaos that she was just trying to like make me not date someone, and I was like 19, and that's just kind of like that's out of like that's extreme to me. So I just did whatever I wanted anyways. But that was one example. I just kind of stayed away from her because I thought that was so ridiculous, and it would just be better if I don't stress myself out with like trying to understand this control. I guess I don't know. The situation itself didn't make sense to me. Like
Yeah.
that frustrates me, and I end up like trying to like I think I ended up like being very controlling on that girlfriend I had. Um, Like I remember, I guess I ended up having like jealousy issues or something. I don't know,
Jealousy.
but
Hmm.
yeah, something.
Like
I don't know.
you had a swing of control chaos a little bit then,
Yeah,
like you were feeling things were getting out of control.
yeah. I'm trying to remember. Um, Trying to remember exactly what happened. That was like that. Um, hmm,
Uh-huh.
I can't recall it right now. I
Yeah,
guess
that's
I
fine.
am
Go ahead.
feminine sensory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, okay, so I'm gathering that you're probably typed like as consume play, but I'm seeing more consume sleep in you for some reason, and I think you're an energy
Hmm.
dom. I think you're like consume sleep play.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he typed me consume, play, sleep.
Okay,
But it was kind of muddy on the player sleep. But I don't know. A lot of evidence points towards consume play, but
right.
there's still a little bit of room for it to
But
possibly
yeah,
kind of
those
be
it does
consumed
seem
sleep.
energy dom. It does seem those are your two middle animals at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have anything on that on being an energy dom on knowing what your limits, knowing what kind of energy you have to give and where you need to stop, getting tired quick or
So, hmm. Yeah. So I guess every time that I'm hanging out with people, I have a good sense for like if I can or not. Like if I do have enough energy to put into hanging out with people, like I definitely just I go and I try to spend it. Like I
hmm,
like doing that, but like I know when to leave and not take it too far, or I don't know. I don't even give myself a chance to know what it's like to take it too far. Um, so I also this is another thing about that. So I find that interestingly, I think it's a last thing though, but I will like when I first meet a group of people that I don't know, I tend to be really quiet at first. And I
yeah,
just observe everybody and I just listen and then I just kind of like find the one person that I can predict that I can like have a good conversation with, or that they might be interested in something I'm interested in, or
right.
it might
Connecting
be
on the connecting
worthwhile.
with the FI, doing that FI connection
Yeah,
again. Yeah,
yes. But if that's not there, I'll leave and I don't really care to just sit there and like have a shallow conversation just
right.
for doing that. But yeah.
Yeah. People will work themselves out. You're not worried about people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I, okay, so here's another thing that might point towards play above sleep is that you have double masculine sleep. So it might pull you into sleep a bit more, anyways.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, I definitely disrespect the sleep process.
Do
A
you?
lot of the
Okay.
time, like I need to process something after something just happens, and I don't really give myself enough time to do that. Like I just start trying to do another thing immediately, and that's not good to do. And I end up like making bad decisions because of that. Like I figure out a lot of other factors, like way after I already made the decision, and I can't integrate that into the decision that I made. And
Hmm.
so like over time, I've learned to like I have like an instinct now to just like sit still, like when I have to make a decision, and just like let it like do a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's disrespecting the sleep, or it's just your NI, your demon NI.
Mm.
Hmm. Here we have a question here. How do you process sleep? How do you sleep?
Good question. I like that. So, so what I actually think about sleep is that there's two different kinds of sleep. Like there's one that you actually do consciously, like you try to apply your DI with your OI,
Hmm.
like while you are like fully conscious. And then there's another kind of sleep that kind of happens in the background. That's always like doing the DI OI by itself, and it's it's considering things that are a little bit hard for you to consider now because you have a limited access to your memory. So I suppose that's being like worked with through your subconscious that has access to all of that without having a hard time recalling anything.
Hmm.
So I tend to try now that I know about that I have like possibly demon sleep. I try to do both. Like I try to expect to do both. Like I try to make sure that like if I'm making a big decision, like I go to sleep with the intention of trying to wake up with a little bit more sleep process specifically on that, and that kind of programs my subconscious to process that a little bit better, and it
Yeah.
works. It really
Okay.
does.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah. Do you want to tell me about your TE a little bit? Do you process logic with others? Do you like to involve others when you process logic?
oh, I definitely do.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to talk to people about different things. I I
Like
guess I
figuring
guess
things
I
out?
like to
Yeah.
share my consume with people. Like I like to get them to play tennis over my consume as the ball,
Right.
and just like throw it back and forth and see what it becomes after that. So what do you call it? I also find it a little bit interesting that I have feminine TE as a demon and single activated because I just see myself doing that so much, and I also see myself fighting other people through T. I do. So I actually ended up making that theory that kind of explains the sexuals a little bit further. Um, I'm not sure if you want me to just dive
Yeah,
into
sure.
that right now, or
Sure, why
sure.
not?
Okay.
Go for it.
So
Yeah.
all right. So basically, the way that I'm actually looking at it is that each of the functions have an input and an output. So what that changes is that the input is based on what you are willing to consider regarding that function, and that can be either with other people or with yourself. So if you have like masculine input TE, for example, you're going to like just kind of close the front door. Like it's not really open. Like the front door is closed, and they just kind of like they only want to hear from people that are specifically going to lead to the outputs, um, with the output being your conclusion regarding that function. So if you have a masculine output, you're going to feel more secure about conclusion with that function, you're going to want to share it. So if you have masculine output TE, then you're going to want to share what you TE think. Like it's not going to stay as a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have
Well,
feminine input with masculine output, then you're going to want to play with other people, and then after you're done creating your conclusion with a T, you're actually going to fight other people with that. So
mm-hmm.
but that applies to all the other functions too.
Yeah, I'll have to
Uh,
think about that. But I do like the idea of the input-output sort of thing, like the function is a black box. I do like that. I'll think about that a bit. That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, I did not explain that very well. I'm probably gonna end up making a video explaining it
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah. Well, when
But
you make it,
yeah,
give me a link and I'll put it under this video. So if you're watching this video at a later date, there might be a link there and you're interested to hear better
awesome,
explained.
awesome.
Yep. Um, do you, okay. Do you want to tell me a little bit about when you are trying to work on the logic? Are you looking for what works, or are you trying to find some kind of truth, or what are you doing
Um,
when you're? Are you looking to make something work in the real world with someone else?
yeah, I bless you. Um, I definitely think so. I mean, I feel as though when I'm in a group with people, I feel responsible for trying to figure out what works for us. Like I just immediately just like start looking and like trying to put things together. And that's part of my evidence for being play savior, because I guess I'm responsible for the SETE in some
Mhm.
way. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, there's definitely that, and I also tend to like I'll listen to what someone is saying about something, and I'll just kind of I'll ask them good questions about it. Like that's a thing I like doing. I like to ask good questions, like specifically a question that's going to evolve that thing because of that question.
Mm.
You know, so that's what I see in it.
So yeah, how do you see? Because I sort of led you on with the question. How do you see your FI?
All right, so the way that I see my FI is I mostly I kind of see it separate. So I see it as like I have masculine DI
Yeah.
and I also have savior feeling, and I don't really feel as though I don't necessarily have TI in me. Like I feel like I do, but
Hmm.
and I don't know, that's kind of what made it hard for me to type myself. Like I definitely thought I was like TI. I definitely thought so because I find myself like saying like, oh, I think this is the answer. Like I create a specific like pill for someone else to swallow, you know. So I thought that was like a TI thing, but um, in regards to the reality of my FI, I mean, I'm not really conscious of it, to be honest. I don't really think it's like unordinary to like think about what you care about. Like I never thought that was
Yeah,
like
it is.
special,
It
you
is.
know.
Yeah,
So
it is. And
so it's hard.
you're pretty forward about like what your priorities are. You seem to know. And you know you're looking for someone who you can connect with on an FI basis when you're talking to people. What else were you saying? Um, I guess you know what would make you happy and what wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing. That's a good question then. So I definitely feel as though I know what I want in the moment,
Right.
but I don't remember all of the things that I like.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't really remember. I tend to try the same thing again, like after a period of time, because I forget if I like it or not. You
Hmm.
know, but maybe that's a
I
feminine
wonder if you're
sensory
talking about it.
thing.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a feminine sensory thing, like what you like in terms of like food or in terms of an experience. That would be the sensory, like aesthetic pleasure, rather than
It's
emotional
also
pleasure.
with, yeah, definitely that, but also with people.
Uh-huh.
So like I'll meet somebody, and then like I'll come to the conclusion that I don't want to talk to them anymore because they're not like good for me or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
And then some months later, I'll just be like, oh yeah, like why not? Like, you know, is there such a problem with like trying to expect that people change,
Yeah.
or I don't know. But it's also like
Yeah.
I just don't remember how bad it was, you know.
Yeah. I can tell you what I think is going on there. I think, yeah, you're being a little bit more objective on things, and
Hmm.
you're maybe not seeing the patterns. It'll take you a while to see to over time to see if the person holds up on those patterns. You know, you want to gather more data before you
Yeah,
make your conclusion. So that's more like the objective
yeah.
side. I want to gather more data until I finally conclude.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I feel as though I've observed myself go through a like a sleep demon realization in my life, because I noticed that like when I actually like put my mind into sleep, it feels like I'm putting my mind underwater, and then I end up like feeling all of these connections that are like it has like F wisdom in it, and like I end up like understanding like connections between people better.
Mm.
But it, you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
sweet
hard
there.
for me.
That's
It's
definitely
always
FN
been
sleep.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
always been kind of hard for me to keep that on like all the time, so I just don't forget the things that I already know about people. So
Hmm.
um, definitely in more recent years, I guess my sleep develops more, and I feel like I can keep it like half on at least all the time. So I know what I actually do know. Like I act like I already know what I know, and I incorporate it into my decisions.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, well, it's also developing a worldview. Like it's going to be really consistent over time. Like it'll take you time to actually develop it. It's like I've noticed that too, where SE DOMs, it'll take them a long time to gather all the data, to do all the research, to figure everything out. But then in the end, once they finally do, and they're locked onto something, then the pattern will start to come together, and you'll end up understanding things a lot better than other people because you put in the work.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
But that's interesting. I mean, I feel like with the feminine sensory, at times I can kind of fool myself into thinking I have enough data, and I legitimately feel like I do. Like I feel
Yeah.
the NI really strong. It's like I can explain it without knowing more. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, no, I am seeing that your intuition is a little strong. Yeah, because you came up with a few analogies there that is definitely NI. It's not analogies that I understand. Like it's analogies that you understand, and you're giving it to me
Mm.
as if I should understand it too. And it's like I guess I could kind of get it, but like yeah, you definitely have NI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. I want to talk about your NI actually, but I want to also talk about the double deciding aspect of things. Do you see yourself doing that?
I feel like I'm really good with double deciding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably my the thing I don't need to work on, because
Hmm.
it's not hard for me to like I feel like if I'm kind of like observing like both sides of the race at the same time, like as I'm making progress for understanding things on like this line of understanding, I'm also like gathering stuff for the other one at the same time too. So um, it kind of helps me when I'm trying to like debate with people,
Hmm.
because I feel like I kind of like I get where they're coming from. Like I feel like I'm kind of playing their side too, you know.
Right.
So and it also helps with that. Like I can also observe the F and the T like alongside as well. So
Hmm.
it's like I don't go too far into like making it too T heavy, and like forgetting about like, oh yeah, but values matter too, you know, or like,
Yeah.
you know, like the specific place we're trying
To
to end up is not necessarily like as efficient,
Yeah.
you know.
Also, like you want things to be um, chemical as well, not just dry and um, I don't know, logical. You're gonna bring in a
Yeah,
flavor of the chemicals into things. Yeah.
I like both, you know, like yeah,
Yeah.
definitely I try to keep both in the mix.
Um, what about it? What about in terms of pressure and energy? Like, are you spending a lot of energy with people, and spending a lot of energy on yourself, and sort of trying to balance the two energy uses as well?
Um, I feel as though, geez, I always say I feel. I feel as though I am like literally trying to do sleep and play at the same time to try to overcompensate for the fact that my blast is so low. Like
Okay.
if I get myself to a point where my sleep is like my head is under the water and I can see those connections, then
Hmm.
I can just speak through those connections to you, and I don't have to try to connect my. I'm not going to have such a harsh connection between my TE and my NI because there's going to be that little stepping stone where the FI with the NI have a
Yeah.
little better connection, and then
You're using
that
a
can
lot of
double
type
decide.
talk here, so it's hard to know what you're actually saying, because what you mean by TE and what I mean by TE might be different, and what you mean by NI and what someone in the audience means by NI might be different. So
That's true.
so like the type talk
Mm.
might sort of cloud what you're meaning.
Okay, so without using type talk,
Yeah.
what I
Sorry.
see is like I'm kind of, like I kind of get into the. Uh, I just kind of describe it like the darkness in my head is where the connections are, where like I feel the answer, and it just hits me. Like I can feel I feel like a tension in a certain place, and I feel like if I can if I follow that, it starts to come out. Like the audio of what I'm supposed to say to speak that answer just comes out. So if I can connect to my sleep, then I'm kind of bettering my connection to my OI, and then
Mhm.
that helps me to communicate. So I consciously try to be like sleep aligned while I'm trying to like use my play
Okay.
so that I can I know what I'm trying to like tell people, or I can just make sense, or I can offer an insight that's valuable to the situation because that's what I want to do. So yeah.
So the original question was more about energy. Are you balancing the energy you're using with the tribe and with yourself? Like, the tribe needs energy to be put into it. It needs you to pay attention to it. It needs you to, I don't know, help it or do stuff with the tribe, right? It needs your energy. It's requiring your energy. Even the outside world, the objective world, needs your energy. You need to do dishes. You need to, I don't know, but then also like you need to use energy for yourself to consume, to figure stuff out, to maybe be more efficient. So do you see yourself balancing those two sides?
Um, I would say that it depends on like how much I value a certain tribe. If I don't value that tribe, then I tend to kind of do the minimum, where I'm not just
Um,
around. I'm not around long enough to end up like actually doing a whole lot of things. But if I am like if I do value that tribe, I tend to like probably put too much into it. Like I'll totally be like consumed in trying to like make the best of them, and I get very passionate about it. Um, yeah, I can get to really far points where like I don't even realize if they value me or not. I just know that I like them. So
yeah, that's FI over
it's one of
FE.
those
That's
things.
interesting. Yeah, you know if you like them, you
Yeah.
don't know if they like you. Yeah. Um, uh, but that is kind of a little bit of a decider issue. Like, is it something that you get stuck on, or
I
if the
used to
tribe
think I was a
waits?
decider for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I had issues a lot with stuff like that. Like a lot of the time, and I guess anybody can really experience it, especially that I'm like single activated on the TE. It's
Uh-huh.
third, it's a demon. Like when I'm around people, I can feel them like like I feel like they are piercing me energetically, and I kind of hide my DI. I kind of hide it. Like I act like I'm weak. Like I act like if, like I'm not supposed to be there. Like I don't deserve to be there. Like I feel like I'm a bad person. Like I feel like everybody hates me, and like they just don't want to see me, and it's just like such a burden for me to even be around. Like I feel like that a lot of the time, when I'm around strangers that I don't know, especially like certain people that just don't give a good vibe, you know, like. But I'm definitely conscious of it, and I try my best to. I force myself to be confident because I feel angry that they would make me feel like that, and even though they're not actually making me feel like that,
Right.
but I feel like no, like I should feel good about myself, so I will act like I feel good about myself, and I'll convince myself that I feel good because I
Uh,
should, you know.
Interesting. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
something that I'm not sure about this at all, but I've been seeing FI users as having maybe like a hidden intention behind their actions because they don't like to share their FI. It's personal. But is that something that you're looking for in others as well? Like you're assuming they have an FI and they have some hidden agenda or hidden intention behind things, and you're trying to read their intention more than what they're actually saying or why they're saying. You know what I mean?
I never thought about that before, but I definitely can say that I feel as though they feel a certain way about me, and they don't want, especially when they don't like me, if they don't like me, they're not going to tell me that, and instead they're going to like, I guess the NI thing comes in, and I start to think that they're going to like give me the worst and like try to step on me while I'm on the floor, kind of a thing, without telling me that that's what they're doing, like in that sense. So um, yeah, so I
Mhm.
do, I do feel like they have a hidden intention that's based on how they feel about me.
Right. That's interesting. Okay, so we have Sheila that says here, Demon TE worries about what the tribe thinks. Are you worried about what people think? Not necessarily how they feel?
Um, I feel like they hate me. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if that's a
So it's
thinking
a
or a
feeling.
feeling
Yeah, it's a
thing, but
feeling. Yeah, yeah. You're worried about their FI, their hidden FI.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
their FI. I feel like it's like I feel, yeah, I feel like it's hidden. Like I feel like they feel a certain way about everybody, and they're gonna
Uh,
act on it, and I'm gonna have
yeah.
to do something about that, and I'm gonna have to like fight them, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's interesting because I was intending the whole time not tribe. I was intending like individuals when you're looking at an individual. But automatically you're putting them, you're saying they sort of thing. So that's like self above tribe sort of thing. You're like grouping them off as a tribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you say
Hmm.
they, you're not including yourself. Like I'm not included in them. They.
Yeah,
So
me
it's a
against
self above
them.
tribe. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
Um, uh, Danny thinks sometimes I don't know about you or if it's them, but people are assuming the worst about new people. Does that ring
Hmm.
any bells to you?
I don't assume the worst about anybody that's new. I
But do
just
you feel
kind
like
of
they maybe assume the worst over you? Or it's a fear at least?
that depends on what impression I gave them. So I
Hmm.
definitely think that like I don't know. I just kind of read them. I just like I'm watching them like energetically. Like I'm
Hmm.
scanning for. I guess with the NI, like I'm looking for the pattern that like resembles a thing, and I try not to be biased, but if something starts to make me uncomfortable, or if I start to feel as though like they might have a good reason to feel that way, I do tend to kind of I do get biased, and I start seeing things that might not be there, and then they don't act like that. That's how they feel, but
Uh,
I suspect they are, and I keep trying to look for it,
yeah,
and it's
I'm
not
thinking
fair to them.
there's a hint of demon and I in there too, or at least an I in there. Um,
Yeah,
Sheila wants a clarification in assuming their impression. Are you assuming their impression? How they're impressed by you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I tend to assume they got a bad impression more than I assume they got a good impression. Like I have a pretty good feel for if they have a good impression,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes if it's like neutral, I kind of assume it's bad. Like they're just hiding something from me.
Hmm.
So
Okay, we did talk about your NI quite a bit, but I'm just wondering maybe there's something we didn't touch upon. Do you want to maybe just go over your NI generally or specific, however you want?
oh yeah, so I don't know if it's because my SE is my lead function, but I feel like I can see my NI more than I can see my SE,
Right.
and it's probably because it's masculine. But it was always curious to me that it's a single activated, and it's not in my savior states at all because I have
So,
play
yeah,
savior.
I can help you with that a little bit. NI is back end goal. Like, okay, so our inferior function is always some kind of goal function. It's like our lifelong goal, even. It's like, okay, all the SE are gathering. What's the purpose of it? It's meaningless unless you've narrowed it down. And so like that's where the attention will go. Okay, I've got this SE. Now I've got to narrow it down. Like that's really the point of everything. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So you're not responsible
Yeah,
for it on the front end, but on the back end you need to do it.
I see. Because I never really felt like that's what I was doing. Because
Okay.
the way I experience it, anyways, like I feel like my NI is like because I can feel my brain. I'm a weirdo. Like I can feel my
Hmm.
brain as I'm thinking. Like I feel tensions in like a certain area, like as I'm thinking in a certain direction, and then if I stop it there and I leave it there, it actually keeps increasing in tension unless I
Hmm.
start thinking in another direction, and then it starts moving that way. So when I do my NI, like I feel like I'm like going down into a dark hole, and it just like I feel like I'm going somewhere, like I'm exploring into my, like I'm
Yeah.
gonna reach a point that's so small, like it's gonna be so specific and it's gonna be so strong because of how specific it is, that like that fascinates me so much.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit like an
So
eye for sure. Very specific and a point. Yeah, that's how I experience it too. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, like you're narrowing things down. You're trying to get everything to the most simplest form that it can be, and it's not
yeah,
done
but
until
like
it's perfectly simple.
is it feeling like a physical sensation for you? Like do you
No,
feel
no,
like you're no?
no.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, okay, what about in terms of life patterns? Do you see yourself going through over and over again um, good life patterns, bad life patterns until you've cracked it and seen, hey, this has happened 10 times before. I've got this deja vu sort of thing. I got to stop it. Like, do you get that you just keep repeating the same cycles?
I feel like I'm obsessed with trying to find them. I
Okay.
definitely am, at least at this point, anyways. I am I'm like always thinking in my head, like, oh, like if I do this, is that going to? It's like, what does this mean about me? Like, what am I doing? Like, is there a psychological term for what I'm experiencing? Um, and, like, I just kind of freak out about it a little bit, and I try not to because at the same time, I know it's not gonna help by freaking out either. So,
Hmm.
but I noticed that I I do make mistakes and I don't learn it. I don't learn the pattern immediately. I've noticed the pattern that it takes me a little bit, and it's not like I don't make the same mistake so many times, but I do see that it clicks, like for real, like
And then you
only
break out.
after I do it a couple times. Yeah, only
Hmm.
after a couple times. So definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Sheila says that she's probably noticed that the words fascinated and obsessed are some kind of demon expression things. But I, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
I had another question. I don't remember what it was. But like, is there anything maybe about your type that you want people to know that that we didn't cover?
Um, mm, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, it's okay, man. What about
Yeah.
anything you want to promote or any final message you want to give?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I my YouTube channel is called Vibrational Intelligence. I
Cool.
plan to make way more videos. I think now that I'm saying this here, I'm probably gonna feel obligated to continue. So
Now that you're saying this
I
here,
have
what does
like,
that mean?
yeah, I don't know. I if I leave it up to myself, I'm probably gonna like procrastinate it at some point, or just try to kick my ass enough until
Uh-huh.
I do like one video, and then I just kind of feel so good about that I finally did one that I just don't even continue. But I feel like if I am constantly like engaging with other people, and like as I'm making that video, like someone actually watches it and tells me about what they thought, it makes me feel like continuing making them as if I'm having a conversation with them.
Uh-huh.
So that's definitely what I think about that. But um, so yeah, I'm probably specifically gonna be making videos on theories that I think
Cool.
they're definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So check out Daniel's channel. You'll give me a link. We'll put it in the description after. Um,
all right.
what's your channel about? So it's basically about your theories, and is it typology related?
I also yes, I started making a series, an OP series on the coins. I'm gonna make like
Okay.
10 different ones in total. I mean, I know there's like nine, but there's some other coins that they kind of overlap with other ones.
Hmm.
I'm gonna cover that anyways. I started that already. I have one of them on observers versus deciders. And
So you
next
got
time I
plenty.
do self versus tribe. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
OP and theories.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone, and thanks a lot for reaching out to me and getting this going, Daniel. I appreciate that because then
Awesome.
I don't have to go out
Thanks
and
for
search
having
for
me.
people. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.